Welcome to the Pet Biz Project, the podcast for passionate pet business owners and entrepreneurs. In today's episode, I chat with Tia Wishart, IndePet's Business Development Manager. We dive into what makes their member-owned model so different and why it's such a game changer for independent pet retailers across Australia and New Zealand. Tia talks about how IndePet brings together indie pet stores to give them more buying power, tailored marketing support, and the kind of practical help that makes a real difference. We also touch on Tia's own story from a career in law to a role that's about lifting up the pet care community. Plus, we talk about events like the annual IndePet conference and Women in Pet and how they're helping to create stronger connections across the industry. Let's get into it. Hi Tia, thanks so much for joining us on the Pet Biz Project today. I really appreciate you coming online. We've been trying to organise this for a couple of weeks and we've finally got here. So I'm really pleased to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great. So let's get stuck into it. I really want to, first of all, help people to understand that obviously you work with IndePet, and just for those that haven't come across IndePet before or may not know what you guys are all about, could you explain it a little bit for us?
Yeah, no worries. So IndePet's a group of independent pet stores. It's a member-owned model, which sort of sets us apart from other groups in the business. So everyone who's a member of IndePet, the store owners, they're also shareholders in IndePet. So they've got a lot of investment in the group succeeding as well as their own stores, which is cool. Our board consists of store owners as well. So our direction is heavily driven by what is best for the stores, which can be quite different to other sort of corporates that I've worked at and things like that. In the IndePet team, we've got a support office of 8 people who all sort of have different skill sets, specialise in different areas. The group was started 15 years ago by a few store owners who just saw each other at trade shows and events, and sort of they could see the corporates coming into the industry. It literally started over a few beers. They all got together and thought, if we don't work together to stay relevant and competitive, then, this industry is going to run away without us. So it sort of started as a buying and marketing group, and it's evolved into sort of a full service model for retailers now. At the moment, we've got over 50 independent pet specialty stores across Australia and New Zealand. We're always growing. Every business that we work with is independently owned, so it's a family-owned business, which is really cool. Quite often, the majority of the family works in the business, which is a different dynamic. Yeah. But I've always found that people in the pet industry as a whole are sort of really nice, caring people, and I feel like our group is the perfect example of that.
That's fantastic. And so you said that your support office is sort of made up of 8 people. What kind of skill sets and support areas do they bring to the table?
So we've got a bookkeeper who is very, very efficient, which she needs to be, and a virtual CFO who sort of helps direct the financial side of the strategy. We've got a CEO who looks at, takes direction from the board and drives the strategy forward, manages our team. We've got someone who specialises in marketing. We have an amazing graphic designer who brings it all to life and makes it look good. We've got someone who deals specifically with suppliers, so manages all the supplier relationships on behalf of the group. And I think a big part of IndePet is instead of the suppliers having to talk to 50 stores, they can talk to one place and then we can talk to 50 stores. We've got someone who works in the private label part of our business, and then my job is to sort of manage the shareholders and sort of drive our projects forward as well.
Fantastic. Does IndePet have products that it manufactures or produces itself? Did I read that somewhere?
Yeah, so we've got a dog food brand called Phoenix, which I think is an amazing brand. I feed it to my dog, so I stand by it completely. I had nothing to do with developing it. It was developed by a nutritionist along with our members who sort of could provide all the feedback of what customers ask for in store, give that to the nutritionist, and then the nutritionist formulated. So at the moment it's 5 different varieties in 2 different sizes, but it's an area of our business we're really looking to expand. So all the corporates have expanded into private label products or exclusive lines. And so we know that for our stores to stay competitive, it's something we should do. It's something that one store can't do themselves because we have to make 30 tonne of dog food at a time, but it's something a group of stores can do.
That's great. It's it's certainly a model that, you don't see a lot out there, and it provides so much support to the business owners, I suppose, because it is a very lonely existence, as as we all know, especially for small to medium sized businesses, it can be very lonely doing it on your own. So I suppose the mental health and emotional side of things as well must be huge for being part of a group like that when you're a family run business.
Yeah, knowing they can pick up the phone if they need help, or if they just want to have a whinge, or to find out they're not the only ones going through something, or to get good ideas. It's really cool to see that idea sharing.
Yeah, and I suppose at the moment, and when we're recording this, there's a lot of economic change going on at the moment out there that can be very cause people to panic a little bit. I suppose having that go-to where they can just tap into, well, how are others feeling? What's going on for others? How should we behave or react to that? So that must be a huge source of support as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely can be lonely being an independent business owner. So it does provide that peer network.
Yeah, fantastic. And so how long have you been part of IndePet?
I've been there for 4 years, or just over 4 years. I've been in the pet industry for 12, which I used to think was a long time until I started working at IndePet.
Till we get older?
Yeah, people have been here in the pet industry for 50 years, so I'm still a baby by comparison. I joined IndePet 4 years ago, so I've worked in the pet industry for quite a while. I worked for a corporate retailer for a while. I started just working part-time in a pet shop while I was in uni to support myself, and I absolutely loved it. I finished uni, I studied law, finished uni, went and worked in a law firm, did not love it. Yeah, so after a pretty rough 6 months, I decided maybe working from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. wasn't for me every day. So I went back to the pet store, to my old manager, just to kind of bide my time until I worked out what I wanted to do. And then an opportunity came up in the support centre of that retailer. So I moved into the support centre, started working for a guy called Todd Clarkson, who was my manager and sort of became my mentor as well. And so about 5 years ago, he moved across to IndePet. And I ended up looking for a job about 6 months later, and he had a job for me. So that's how I ended up at IndePet, and it's been an amazing 4+ years, which is great.
That's good. Yeah, I know the feeling. I come from an investment banking background, so I know it's very similar to law in terms of long hours, no life outside of work sort of thing, and so it's no real job satisfaction, so it can be tough, but it pushes us in the direction of working in the pet industry, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And all the skills I learnt definitely transfer, like critical thinking and communication. I just get to do it around animals and nice people now. So.
Yeah, exactly. Not big egos.
No.
No, that's great. And you've got pets yourself, haven't you?
Yeah. I've got a beautiful border collie called Salty. So I've always grown up with dogs and birds and rabbits. But yeah, at the moment I've got a beautiful border collie called Salty. She's a grey merle, so she's pretty unique. She is a very sweet little border collie, but not a very smart border collie.
Oh, bless.
Yeah. We
love them great. Still the same, don't we?
Yeah, she's very lovable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And I suppose she must, because don't you live sort of more rural area up in the Alpine?
Yeah, I live up in the mountains, so yeah. She loves swimming in the rivers, but she does not love running through the mountains like I do.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
She'll just wait for you at home.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I think a lot of us, when I'm speaking to others on this podcast, it's our animals that inspire us every day sort of thing to do what we do and make the world a better place for them. So I think that's great. So for you as a person, what do you want to see the change in the world as due to the contribution that you're making with IndePet?
I think I care a lot about animals, not just like companion animals. I care about animals of all shapes and sizes and types and things like that. So I think that the better the pet industry can be, the more education they provide to pet parents, the more product development there is, the more understanding of how animals think and digest and things like that, the better outcome there is for animals. And I think independent pet stores play a really important part of that, because they do have, like, in any store you walk into, there can be centuries of experience in that one store, which is absolutely amazing. So, you know, it's not like when you get a pet, you have to do a license course or anything like that. You kind of have to learn as you go, and an independent pet store can be the first port of call to help you with that. So yeah, that's where I see sort of IndePet sort of helping for the betterment of the industry as a whole.
And I suppose with the pet stores, they're really able to have that personal connection and meet pet parents where they're at in their journey of maybe transitioning to a new type of diet with their dog, or, you know, exploring resolving health problems and issues and what products could help. So they do have such a huge opportunity for education and support for pet parents. Do you see that with IndePet? Like, how do you see the stores evolving to do that? Are they still very much focused on that personal connection when people come in stores, or are they starting to leverage sort of online education and support as well for their customers?
I think they are moving into online education, and a lot of them use social media as a really good tool for that. So their, you know, Facebook page being a window into the store, or the store owner standing in front of a product and saying, here's a new product and why it's good for your pet. So I think they are moving into that space, which is great to see. But I still think that personal connection when you have a pet, like, it's such an emotive industry, which I love about it. It's got a lot of heart and soul. And so being in the pet store, having your pet there with you, it's really cool. You can't take your pet shopping everywhere in Australia or New Zealand. So great that you can wander in with your pet. They remember your pet's name. They go, how did they go with the new food? Or did they like the toy I got you last time? These people tend to really care about the animal. A lot of them are not retailers, they're pet people, which is a positive and a negative, but in relation to sort of building those relationships, I think you can't match it.
Yeah, you just can't with, you know, online means just don't allow you to develop that trust like you can face-to-face with that personal connection. So, yeah, it's lovely, and I think it's amazing how, you know, we need to keep those independent stores alive, because you don't get that necessarily with the big corporates and stuff like that. So it's why it's so important to help them survive and help them to really flourish as well. So what does the IndePet group look like? You know, like it in terms of the benefits to store owners. If somebody was listening to their podcast and they're like an independent pet store, and they've, you know, not even heard about IndePet, or they've maybe heard about it but don't really know the details, what would be the benefit of them becoming part of it, and what would they get?
Yeah, awesome. So primarily better buying. So our members get a better everyday buying price, because we leverage the volume of the group rather than one individual store. We save our suppliers time and money by streamlining that process as well, so that money can go back into better buying for the stores. We do a customized promotional program. So when I first joined IndePet, we did one catalogue for all stores. Some stores, because they're independents, would sell half the products. Some would sell not even half the products. So they'd get this catalogue turn up and it wasn't relevant to their unique business. So we created a customized marketing program where all our suppliers could offer their promotions to our stores. Our stores can jump into a portal. They can say, I want these 20 or 30 offers, and then we create a catalogue bespoke to that store for the products that suit them. We help them with online training. So we've got a training portal called Pet Academy for all of their team that has training on both like retail and product. And then if they've got managers or people they want to put on a management pathway, there's sort of retail training to help with management or inventory management or things like that as well. We sort of help them leverage data. So a lot of our members have got amazing gut feel for the industry because they've been in it for so long. But retail is an art and a science, so we help them sort of understand what's going on in the independent market specifically and how that relates to their store. We help with sort of just saving them money every day, so better pricing on electricity or FPOS or insurance and afterpay, as those things come more and more important. And then, as we mentioned earlier, we've got the private label range. So we've got the Phoenix dog food brand, and we're looking to sort of expand more into that.
Gosh, it's huge benefits, isn't there, in terms of, instead of trying to figure it out on your own? Because I suppose something, that we see with working predominantly with e-commerce brands is that mentality of competition, and that we're not going to come together and support each other to grow because you're my competition and I don't want to, I see it as you're just going to take my audience and, use it for your benefit. So how do you address shifting their mindset and helping them to see it as not competition when they're potentially looking at becoming part of the IndePet group and once they're in it?
It can be hard. So one of our little catch cries is stronger together. So the first conference I did at IndePet 4 years ago, we brought this motto of stronger together to the group, and it wasn't just the members within the group. We're stronger together with our suppliers and things like that as well. So we've really pushed that idea. The market is changing, competitors are getting way more competitive, everyone wants a piece of pet, so the number of stores and chains that have got pet products now is growing, and the specialization of those products is really changing as well. Like, you used to have a department store that would have a basic bed and some dog bowls, and that was it. Now they're doing really specialized products or really cool and unique products. So we sort of have talked to our members about the strength within the group and not being competitors of each other. The more cohesive that the market sees the group, the more respect it has, the better we can leverage the volume of the group. But primarily they're all really good friends as well, which is nice. So when they do get together, they've known each other for 20 or 30 years, because once someone gets into the pet industry, they kind of never leave. They just bounce around a bit. So it's actually really nice to see that camaraderie within the group. There is still sometimes when they'll think that, the store down the road's not doing right by them, or an independent who's not part of the IndePet group is a competitor, and we're like, no, independents are your allies, and we need to sort of really focus on what makes independents special and unique to bring that to life.
And it's the same with the online stores as well. It's just, if you're seeing others as competition, you're not clear enough on what your unique selling points are to see that you're offering something different, in a different way or a better way, or, it's understanding how you stand out in a crowd. If you get that, I think you don't tend to see people as competition then. So, yeah, fantastic. Okay, and you guys have a conference, an event, I think isn't the next one in Hobart, is that right?
Yeah. So our annual conference is probably one of the biggest things we do each year. It's a really good mix of education, fun, a whole bunch of things. So I think it's a really important event. It is the one time of the year that our members get out of their store and really focus on working on their business, not in their business. One of the things we always talk about is you can have best laid plans, but if the FPOS machine is broken, you've got to fix the FPOS machine. And these business owners, they are the jack of all trades in their business. They are IT support, their customer service, their marketing, their everything. So it can be really hard. It's a good opportunity for them to step away from their store for 4 or 5 days, have some fun, but also really think about their business at a higher level. We've also got a trade show as part of that as well, so they can get some really great deals, network with suppliers. But this year down in Hobart, we've got some amazing speakers who are being part of the event. So we've got Adam Posner, who is one of Australia's leading experts on loyalty, and Damien Young, who's a really savvy market researcher. So both of them are conducting research for us on the independent channel, and then they're going to present that research at our conference and run workshops with our members, which is pretty cool because no one's really studied the independent channel. There's lots of data on corporates and there's lots of market research on corporates, but nothing on independents so far. So we're really excited to be able to do that.
Great. And do you have it in a different location each year, or do you typically go back?
Yeah, so last year we had it in Rotorua. We've held it up in the Gold Coast. We went to Fiji one year. And then at the end of each conference, we sort of do the location reveal. So everyone will know where 2026 is.
Yeah, they can plan their holidays around it now.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It sounds like a great event. Lots of
fun. It's a really great event. And the vibes afterwards are great. Like, it really brings the group together. It re-inspires people each year. So.
Yeah. And you said that your independent stores are sort of split across Australia and New Zealand. Is one sort of more dominant than the other, or they're pretty split?
I think Australia, just because we have 5 times the population, is obviously it's a much bigger market. But in New Zealand, we've got really good geographical coverage. So we're the second biggest retail group in New Zealand, behind one of the major corporates, and really good geographical spread across both islands too, which is great.
And you also do the Women in Pet event, which you had in March this year, and I had the privilege of being able to attend as well, which was fantastic.
Thanks for being part of it.
Yeah, it was really good fun. Well, tell our audience a little bit about it first, and then I'll also chime in with what I thought of the event.
Yeah, awesome. I'm really proud of this event, and I'm so grateful to sort of IndePet and the PIAA and Royal Canin and Central Pet, who supported us to make it happen this year. It was an idea I had sort of 4 years ago to bring it to life. It took a few years to work out how and when and why, and definitely on the first year I was like a little kid wondering if no one would turn up to my birthday party. No one was doing an event in the industry that really celebrated women. So a lot of the companies will do their own on International Women's Day, like do an internal event, which is amazing. But I really just wanted to bring something to the industry that transcended what shirt you wear to work. So, and also what channel you live in quite often, we can be siloed into groomers and vets and retailers and things like that. So I wanted to just sort of bring everyone together the best way we could and sort of celebrate the achievements of the amazing women who are part of our industry, because majority of people who work in this industry and majority of our customers are women. So I think there is a lot to celebrate.
No, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. And I think I said to you at the time, I turned up to the event expecting it to be a typical sort of business, sort of networking event sort of thing that I've been to plenty in the past, but it was really very strong emotional connections as well with others there in the room, and just hearing the panel speak around not just, what we do in our business, but how we do it and how challenging it can be at times. And we don't always have the opportunity or take the opportunity to share those challenges with each other and connect and see that we are the same, that we are all going through the same things. Why not come together and share that sort of strength and how we've overcome those challenges? So I thought it was lovely to hear everybody there had so much value to share in their experience, but also just the others that I connected with in the room. I think since COVID especially, the opportunities for those personal connections being in the same room together and have, dwindled a little bit over the recent years. And a lot of networking, I suppose, what I see happens in my area of expertise, it happens a lot like on LinkedIn, and it's all digital sort of thing. So it was a fantastic event just to meet others. A lot of people were in the room that I've spoken to in the past but never actually seen in person. So yeah, I'd be definitely there at the next one.
Yeah, I'm really glad that it can be an annual event now, which is awesome. So yeah, and I think like you touched on, we work in such an emotive industry, and quite often emotion's seen as a negative and women are seen as too emotional. So I kind of wanted to work to change the narrative on that and really highlight the positive aspects that women really drive in our industry.
And a lot of us are in the work that we're in because of our love of animals. And that typically, being a very generalist here, but it typically is the type of person that is maybe an introvert that doesn't, necessarily come out of their shell a lot to, voice what they might be feeling challenged or, feeling vulnerable with. So I think it's just recognizing, it really helped everybody in the, that was there to recognize that we are, all having challenges. It doesn't stop for some of us, like we're all experiencing it. So it was lovely to hear. And I think, such a focus on mental health and emotional support is what's needed in current times as well. So yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it.
I do think we are stronger by empowering each other. We can be each other's best allies, and like the glass ceiling it's still there. It's definitely better than it was last year and 10 years ago, but the only way we're going to shift it is by kind of pushing it together.
And so how did you determine the panel that you had speak like this year and past years as well? Is there a specific sort of type of person that you're looking to have come on and speak? Does it change each year?
Yeah, so I think it has changed across the 2 years. We try and get a diverse range of people from different parts of the industry. So this year we had Dr. Bron, who's a vet mentor and educator for a major food brand. We had Melanie Newman, who's a highly experienced celebrity dog trainer. We had Laura V. Mel Newman's a highly experienced celebrity dog groomer. We had Laura V, who's a dog trainer and a public figure and an author who's trying to shift the perspective on how we train animals. And then we had Dr. Emma, who's the chief vet officer of a really large veterinary clinic group. So wide range of experiences, but there, surprisingly or unsurprisingly, there was a lot of similarity between everyone's thoughts and feelings and what they've experienced, which I think is cool.
And you've had Dr. Katrina Warren, was it the previous year? Was she there?
Yeah, so we had her as the keynote speaker in the first year, and she was absolutely amazing. So I'm a Border Collie girl. I grew up with Border Collies. I always watched Dr. Katrina and the Wonder Dogs on TV. I was so nervous the first time I spoke to her. And you know how they say, like, never meet your heroes? I had such a positive experience. Dr. Katrina was absolutely amazing to work with. So we're so lucky. And then she came to the event this year to support us again, even though she didn't have to, which was awesome. But last year, I thought she gave a really honest account of her struggles in the industry, which was really refreshing. Like, she was incredibly entertaining in the way she delivered it, but she really bound the audience together because everyone could relate to a part of a story she told and, her experience going through the world as, the first female vet on TV and things like that.
Wow, it must have been amazing. And what are some of the key takeaways from the events, both, the last couple of years? What are some of the, I suppose, key points that came out that you think that maybe our listeners would find valuable hearing as well?
I think for me, the biggest one was that you're not alone. Like, it can be so easy to sit here and think you're the only one struggling with something or feeling like you're failing. Or one thing that came up from the panel this year is women tend to overthink how they're perceived, which is a huge thing. And they are judged in different ways to men, or they're judged by the same standards as men sometimes, and that's not fair. So I really think you're not alone was the biggest takeaway for me, and the importance of women supporting each other and the power that comes from that. We all sort of have a shared sense of imposter syndrome. We always feel like we're striving and failing and striving and failing, but one of the key ways to combat that is by supporting each other. So I think that's massive, and they were the key takeaways for me.
Yeah, and I think from a marketing perspective, I see it a lot with female business owners as well, with struggling to put themselves out there and be seen and be heard. Like these days, unfortunately, as much as many of us don't like social media, we have to use it as a tool to grow our businesses and to get in front of pet parents and to be able to educate and support them in the best way possible. And it can be so crippling, that imposter syndrome of, feeling like you're not worthy of being seen and heard, and realizing that, you've just got to sometimes not think about it too much and try and just push through.
It can be really hard now because previously the brand was the brand. Now the person is the brand. So it's not Pet World in Queensland, it's Talia from Pet World in Queensland, or it's not World for Pets in New South Wales, it's Renee from World for Pets in New South Wales. So the person is the brand. But I think that's a real strength of our industry because we are at such an emotive industry. So if there's a face to the brand that's far more powerful.
Oh yeah, it just immediately instills more trust with the brand, because if they're willing to put their face to it, then they back what they're selling essentially, and they're there as we're it's like with social media. We don't spend time on social media just to mindlessly scroll products. We're there to connect. It's just a new way of connecting with our community.
Yeah, and you're looking for the story, like there's so many brands or stores out there, like what is the thing that makes it unique?
Yeah, and that's the person, like a person makes it unique quite often. So what events have you guys got planned? You've got the Hobart one, you're going to be doing the Women in Pet again.
Yep, 2026. We haven't decided where yet, but it will be. I've made it work two years in a row, so everyone trusts me to bring it back annually, which is really nice. Definitely the first year was a test and learn, which was so very excited that Women in Pet can now be an annual part of the calendar. We've got our conference in Hobart coming up in less than 4 weeks, which is very soon, but it'll be absolutely great. We're doing like an Olympics, an amazing race. We've got the speakers that I told you about, so that'll be awesome. IndePet's also part of bringing the AusPet Expo to the industry each year. So we partner with the PIAA to bring a big trade expo out. The PIAA used to do it, and it went on sort of a bit of a hiatus for a few years, and then COVID, and then things are slow to come back from COVID. So last year we brought it back with the PIAA. It was an awesome success. So we've got that in September up in Queensland this year. We've got a venue triple the size of what we got this year, so we're expecting that to be really good. And it's just your traditional trade show, come in, see cool products, get great deals, and then there'll be some industry awards and things like that there as well.
Great, exciting. So what's the long-term plans for IndePet then?
It's ever evolving, and in the 4.5 years that I've been here, I don't think I've ever gotten bored, which is a great part of the job. A key thing for us is to expand the private label portfolio and the exclusive products that we can offer our members, just to help them not have to compete on price, because it's very easy for a customer to come into your store, look up their bag of dog food, see it's cheaper 2 minutes down the road and walk out. Or even worse, you've spent half an hour with that customer helping them understand which food or harness is right for their pet, and then they walk out and go down the road because Google told them it's cheaper. So I think giving them access to exclusive products is really important to help sort of protect the customer loyalty and protect margin. So we're in a joint venture with a dog food or a pet food manufacturer to sort of bring that to life. And we've just opened the distribution of our Phoenix pet food to all independent stores. So it used to just be available to IndePet members, but it's now available to independent pet stores, which is great to give them that same competitive advantage. And it's just us knowing that the bigger the pond, the better the fish. So even if they're not part of the IndePet group, we still want independents to stay strong. We know we've sort of got to develop the services that we offer our members primarily to help them save time, but also save money and keep competitive. And we also want to make it easier for a new store owner to come into the market. So we're working on a few different options on how to make it easier for someone to walk into the pet industry and open their pet store, because it's really, really hard to do straight off the bat. And we know that the more independents that open, the better it is for our group and for the industry. We're going to continue sort of growing our network in size and also cohesion. So it could be great to have 100 pet stores in the group, but if none of them are doing the same thing, it's not really a group. So really focusing on working smarter and stronger together. A huge part of my job is to convince 50 plus independent business owners to head roughly in the same direction, or to be comfortable with someone else leading, which is, it's an ongoing battle, but it's also really rewarding. And we've seen the benefit of that over the last few years.
Are you still seeing, new pet stores, independent pet stores opening up at the same rate like startups, or is it really slowing down?
Not at the same rate. I think like online, it's a lot easier to open an online store to not have to commit to rent. And so definitely proliferation in those sort of like either direct to customer brands or online pet stores. But bricks and mortar stores, it's a huge commitment. Quite often, the store won't be able to get credit for their account, so they have to pay everything on delivery, and they've got to do that for a year. And so cash flow is hard at a time you're growing. It's really difficult to even know how to access the products. It's not like there's a directory of, buy pet food here. So yeah, we really do want to make it a lot easier for someone to get into the pet industry as an independent.
Yeah, I suppose just rising costs everybody's experiencing at the moment, for the last few years especially, that, even the shop is costing more.
Yeah, rent and fixtures and
everything's going up. So yeah, it's tough. But personally for you, what does the future hold?
I have a lot of fun in my career and I find it really rewarding. So definitely want to continue that. I'm really motivated by career progression and the chance to continually learn and evolve. And so I think being at IndePet, there's never been 2 years that have been the same. We're always building the next thing or growing the next thing or the next challenge comes up. So yeah, I think that I'll just continuing to progress my career by learning things, and being in a small team, you get exposed to a lot more than you would in a bigger business. So we are also a bit of the jack of all trades. It means that I've done, work that's well above my skill level and work that's well below my skill level. But you're always having a chance to challenge yourself in one way or another.
No, it's good. I think, that's one of the most satisfying things with your career is when you can sort of have that balance of, doing the things that you love, but also pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone regularly, and that it keeps you energized and inspired. At the Pet Biz Project, where our whole motto is building meaningful relationships with pet parents. So everything that we do with education and supporting businesses is helping them to build those strong relationships and meaningful relationships with pet parents. What does that mean to you and the IndePet group?
I think for me personally, I really pride myself on building honest and genuine relationships. I think building trust with people, quite often we ask our store owners to kind of get a bit uncomfortable to grow, and that's a lot easier to do if they already trust you. I really enjoy working out sort of what makes people tick or what lights up their eyes when they talk about it. And quite often it is pets, which is amazing. It's really easy to bond with people in this industry because we have a shared love of animals, which is really cool. So I want to continue to make the industry strong sort of by building that trust on the meaningful relationships. And I feel like pets is just such a special part of their life. So, yeah. And then I think for IndePet, independent stores, I just believe they are vital to the health and well-being of pets and to pet parents. They're the first port of call when a customer gets a new pet or they don't know something or they need advice. There's so much value in remembering someone's pet's name. Like, I worked in a pet store for 5 years and I probably remembered 2 of the pet parents' names, but thousands of pets' names. And working at a pet store, I have laughed and cried with pet owners countless times over the highs and lows of owning a pet. So I think really building that strong, trusting relationship is so important. Independent pet stores have got millennia of experience across the group, so I think that's really cool. And just, walking in and having a friendly face who knows your pet kind of feels a bit special because it's their shop and they think it's their people.
Everything smells amazing.
Yeah, and the pet is the customer, not the pet parent. So I think that's really cool.
No, that's good. And I suppose, especially with the independent pet stores, is they're not just a source for products, are they? They know the best dog trainer, they know who goes to the best vet, they can connect you with all those sources.
Yeah, they're part of the local community. They know, they support local shelters, they quite often support local sports teams, things like that, which is really cool. So they are enmeshed in their local community in a way that a corporate can't be.
Well, thank you so much. So what's the best way for people to get in touch with you if they want to reach out, whether they're an independent store or somebody else? What's the best way for them to get in contact?
Got a work email which I can share for you to put in the comments.
We'll put in the show notes.
Yeah, awesome. I'm also on LinkedIn just as Tia Wishart, Or if you want to see me running through mountains, my Instagram is adventures.of.tia.
Oh, fantastic. I didn't realise you had that. I'll definitely be following that. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Tia, for being on the show. It's just been great having a chat with you and for sharing with everybody all about IndePet and then also your personal love for the pet industry as well. So thank you so much for being on our show.
Thanks so much, Tarryn.
That wraps up today's episode with Tia from IndePet. I hope you enjoyed learning more about IndePet and how it's supporting independent pet retailers in such a meaningful way. Tia's insights into collaboration, community, and the power of shared support are such a great reminder of what makes this industry special. If you liked this episode, make sure you follow the Pet Biz Project and leave a quick review. It really helps us to reach more pet pros like you. And you can find us on social media for behind-the-scenes updates and upcoming episode teasers. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, keep building, keep connecting, and keep putting pets at the heart of your business.